How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a very spicy pick for the Open Master League, and that is Gholdengo. Now, Gholdengo, definitely not one of the most accessible mons out there right now. In fact, I am such a noob that I'm not even 100% sure how you get one. I know you have to get one of those gimme goal thingies, or however you say it. Has something to do with coins, and to be honest, I don't even have one, so I don't even know how you get its pre-evolution, but I know it's not the easiest thing to do. Otherwise, we probably would be seeing a lot more of them running around the Master League. But despite me being a massive noob, fortunately for us, DrLuv is not a noob, and he has built for us a Hundo level 50 Best Buddy Gholdengo. And on top of that, we're seeing a level 50 Purified Apex Lugia and a level 50 Best Buddy Hundo Therian Landorus as well. And I think he has the Best Buddy boost on the Landorus, but we'll have to see. But anyway, huge thank you to DrLuv for sending me in these battles. As many of you know, I should say, DrLuv is always running some very unique teams. And as you see there, he's already a legend, so he's just been messing around, having some fun, and trying out this Gholdengo for us. So I'm very excited to see what it can do in the Open Master League. As you guys know, Open Master League, very, very limited. Not that many different variety of mons running around in. Gholdengo has that very unique Steel and Ghost typing, which I think is going to make it a very nice Corebreaker for a lot of teams. So I do believe it is slightly outclassed in terms of like stat product. Without that Best Buddy boost, it sits just below 4,000, whereas things like Dialga are sitting at like 4,600, and Lugia even is at like the 41 or 4,200. So we'll have to see if its lack of bulk is going to hinder it at all. But either way, DrLuv has sent me in like 3 sets of battles, so we're just going to get right into it here. And as we do, I did also divide this into chapters as well, just so you guys can see the full Gholdengo experience and see what it can do up against different types of leads, like neutral, positive, negative. DrLuv has sent them all in. And in the first battle here, we are seeing an Excadrill lead, which is, I'm guessing, a pretty bad matchup for the Gholdengo, being that it is a Steel type. So he does pivot out into the Landorus, and we'll have to see. I'm not sure if he's going to be using Landorus or Lugia as the safe switch. There, I'm not sure if... I kind of would have liked to see him switch into the Lugia there, but maybe Landorus is just a little bit safer. We'll have to see. So, is he going to shield this? Yeah, he does call the Shadow Ball correctly, does shield it, and I'm not sure if this is quite Stone Edge range on the Guillotine. I'm not super familiar with some of the moves and like what KOs what in the Master League, but yeah, just barely doesn't KO, and he is going to go down 2 shields here to maintain switch. And the unfortunate thing is, Lugia doesn't really love Excadrill, but the nice thing is Lugia is just so ridiculously thick that he probably will at least tank 2 Rock Slides pretty comfortably on the Lugia. And actually went for the superpower there against the Togekiss. Maybe worried he wasn't going to make the Stone Edge, but they shield anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And the nice thing about this matchup is, despite the fact that the Gholdengo is a Steel type, if this Togekiss is running the new Community Day of Aura Sphere, this is actually still going to be resisted. And they are actually running Aura Sphere, so that is single resisted, able to tank it, and they do bring back the Excadrill in, and I'm imagining a Shadow Ball here would do massive damage, and it does so much damage. Oh my gosh, that almost one-shots, and that works perfectly for DrLuv here, because as you're going to see, a Rock Slide on the Lugia just does absolutely nothing. It actually looks like that Lugia could probably tank even 3 Rock Slides from that Excadrill there, and this is just now a GG. There's nothing that Togekiss can throw that will KO the very bulky Lugia, and he's going straight for the Aeroblast. And this is going to be a GG, so what do I know? He switches into his harder answer and still wins the game very comfortably. So well played in the first battle. And we have another Excadrill in the next game. So will he do the same thing? Yeah, going to do the exact same thing. And again, guys, DrLuv is a very skilled battler. He knows a lot more about the Master League than I do, so I'm sure he knows exactly what he's doing in these battles when he switches into a certain mon. So this time the opponent actually responds to his Landorus with a Lugia, which is definitely not the best answer. As you see, that Stone Edge does a lot of damage, and I'm not quite sure if another Stone Edge will actually KO. Is he going to double shield here? Does he? I think he can live a Sky Attack here, and yeah, realizes he can live and still get to another Rock Slide. And actually, no, not going to commit to the Rock Slide, the Stone Edge there. And yeah, the opponent is not going to show that. I would have liked to just see him commit there, because again, I'm not quite sure if it would have KO'd, so good chance the opponent wasn't going to shield even if he did make it to the Stone Edge. And now he's going to overfarm massively, and we'll have to see how much an Aero Blast does here. And wow, that does do a lot of damage. So yeah, Gholdengo definitely there. You can tell by that Aero Blast that it's not the bulkiest mon around. And does have 100 energy here though, which is very, very nice. And wow, that Shadow Ball does so much damage. Holy crap. It looks like another one will just about KO here, and actually does get the final shield. And now, honestly, Lugia is just so good. Even if he gets hit with like a Blizzard or a Thunder here, Lugia is just not going to care. And he does shield, does get baited, but probably just commit to the farm down here. And even if they Blizzard, I'm sure that Lugia can tank a Blizzard here. And they actually just go for another Surf, so very interesting. I thought for sure they were at a bigger move there. And yeah, now this is just a game over. I don't even remember what this back mon is. Yeah, oh, it's actually an Excadrill. Oh yeah, from the lead, obviously. But yeah, this is where you're going to just see how bulky Lugia is. One Rock Slide, definitely not going to be enough. And does make the next Sky Attack. So very close game there. Again, two very bad leads. And DrLuv, again, pivots into the Landorus and knows exactly what he's doing, apparently, because he wins that game. So GG's there, and now we have another Steel-type lead, but this time it's actually a Metagross, and I'm imagining that this is probably a pretty nice matchup for the Gholdengo here. And actually there, I think he might have expected the catch, which is why he overfarmed. Very nice recognition there, but still is going to throw a Shadow Ball. And wow, that does so much damage onto Gyarados. This thing appears to hit very, very hard. And now I think you can probably just tank all this energy and just fully farm down. Yeah, Crunch does a laughable amount of damage to the Lugia. That is ridiculous. And probably we'll just want to click on that Aero Blast right away, yeah, just in case the opponent overfarms. And to be completely honest with you guys, I'm not even sure if a Meteor Mash, probably he does now, but I don't know if it would have KO'd if the opponent would have thrown right away when they came back in here. And yeah, now the Lugia goes down. They did overfarm, so they do make a move here. This might just be a Meteor Mash, but a Meteor Mash probably still does massive damage, yeah, so does have to expend a shield there, and the opponent has a Dragonite in the back, so they are also running a double flyer strategy. And honestly, this is the nice thing about Gholdengo, because pretty much every other Steel type is going to be at least tanking neutral damage from Dragonite, but Gholdengo there can actually resist the Dragon Claw and the Superpower due to its very unique typing. And since the opponent double shielded their Dragonite, you can just, yeah, let this go. Dragon Claw shouldn't KO, and Stone Edge probably will just about KO. This is going to do so much damage. And he can very safely here just save his shield for the Gholdengo. Wow, Stone Edge actually does take out the Dragonite. Holy crap. Very well played there. But yeah, Gholdengo, I just really like that typing. That Ghost Steel typing is just super OP, because it very effectively can serve as an anti-Steel and an anti-Flyer, which is pretty unique, honestly. Does get baited here with a Meteor Mash. I believe it, yeah, this is the lead here, so another Metagross here. I think I did put all the Steel types together, just because most of the time a Steel type is a negative lead, but this is actually seeming like a pretty good lead for Gholdengo. I'm imagining that even a resisted Meteor Mash would still do so much damage, just because of the CP difference here, but does actually call the Meteor Mash there, so very nicely done. And he's actually going to come out of this matchup with a shield advantage and switch advantage, so apparently this is just a super dominant matchup for Gholdengo there. Unfortunately, the opponent does have a Dialga. He does get farmed down there, but honestly, this is totally fine, because the Landorus here is just going to destroy this Dialga. And I like this play. He recognizes there that a Superpower would not quite KO, so does actually store... Actually, I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is doesn't throw right away, because an Iron Head would have done a lot of damage if he debuffed himself early there. And beautiful catch. Very nicely banks some energy. And now the Buzzwole comes in, and that lunge just does absolutely nothing. And I think the play here is just maybe commit to the full farm down. And by the time this opponent fully gets farmed down, his switch clock will probably just about be up. And then he can probably just bring back in the Landorus and Superpower the Dialga and just save all of that energy on the Lugia. And maybe his switch clock won't quite be up. So do you just throw a Sky Attack here and then bring in the Landorus? That's probably what I would do. Just throw the Sky Attack. And actually, no, just goes for the Aero Blast there. Probably just recognizes that after that debuffed Aero Blast landed, a Superpower would definitely be enough to KO. And yeah, just very comfortably manages that game. And well played to the opponent as well. And we have another Steel type in the lead here, a Melmetal. And again, this is looking to be a pretty good matchup, because regardless of what the Melmetal throws here, it is going to be completely resisted. And here, he does go for the bait. I would like to see him go for the Focus Blast here, just because if the opponent's staying into a pretty bad matchup, and yeah, they do call it there, when the opponent stays into a bad matchup, you have to think that the opponent's probably weak somewhere in back. So there I was kind of just expecting them to fully sack the Melmetal there, and unfortunately, since he baits, he does end up taking some more damage. But the thing is, I'm actually not even sure if a Focus Blast would have KO'd. Maybe it would have. Again, DrLuv knows these matchups a lot better than I do. And the nice thing is, he wins Switch there, and that's very important because his Landorus would get absolutely demolished by this Kyogre. So maintaining Switch there, very important. Does get baited there, and the opponent has a Dialga in the back, so that is why they did not switch out. They are definitely core broken, ABA weak to that Gholdengo there. And that is a really cool thing, again, about Gholdengo. I kind of expected us to see some matchups like this because that unique typing is just going to allow it to beat a lot of different types of mons that opponents just probably aren't going to be building teams thinking about Gholdengo. So, very nice timing there. Throws after one Mud Shot there. And at this point, honestly, I think this game is just over. Gets some really nice chip damage there. Does get farmed down, but again, this Lugia is just so outrageously thick. Even if they're running Blizzard and they're actually only running Thunder, I honestly think he could still have tanked a Blizzard there and gonna get the full farm down there. Wow, absolutely crazy there. And maybe the opponent actually would have won there if they had Blizzard, because he did not have much HP there after he got that farm down. So good game there. The opponent switches into a Dragon Tail Groudon here, and even though this thing has Dragon Tail instead of Mud Shot, this is just such a dominant matchup for the Lugia. He can very, very comfortably just win this matchup. Probably doesn't even need to commit a shield, and probably can massively overfarm as well. And I like this play a lot. The opponent probably recognizes here that they're in a pretty bad situation. Nice undercharge there as well. And yeah, they don't shield the Aero Blast, so I really like that play. And still comes out of here with enough health to where he's definitely going to be getting to a move against whatever comes in. And yeah, they bring in a Zacian. I forget what the lead was. I don't think we saw the Zacian on the lead, though. I think I have the Zacians like towards the end of the battles. So the fact that he has Switch here is probably just going to be a GG for the opponent, because Zacian, actually, unless they're running Wild Charge, Zacian is actually going to be fully walled by Gholdengo as well if they're running Close Combat and Play Rough, which is pretty crazy. And the opponent has a Kyogre here, which is actually a little bit rough now that the Lugia is gone, because his Landorus definitely does not want to see this. So he's actually going to go for the Focus Blast here, recognizing it's going to do more damage. And oh my gosh, that Focus Blast does so much damage. And the Hexes just barely don't farm down, but now I think he's going to be able to get the farm down here. Unfortunately, it gets denied there. Should have gotten a Mud Shot through, but the opponent doesn't end up getting to another move, so it's okay. And was it a Kyogre? Maybe it was a Kyogre lead there. I truly don't remember what we saw in the lead, but either way, DrLuv is looking to be in an okay situation here, because I think he should... Actually, this is going to be pretty close. If the Zacian gets to a super or a close combat here and actually makes it to the superpower on CMP, is a resisted superpower going to be enough here? And it just barely is. Wow, really close game there. I didn't realize how much energy that Zacian had. I thought that was going to be a pretty clear-cut win there, but ends up coming down to a CMP tie. And this, I imagine, is maybe it was a Zacian lead in the last battle. Yeah, I have my Zacian leads next to each other, so yeah, another Zacian lead here. And this one is actually running Quick Attack, and I guess the last one was too, but Quick Attack is actually going to be triple resisted here by the Ghost and Steel typing, and unfortunately, they are actually running Wild Charge, so not fully walling the Zacian here, but looks like he is just going to shield and probably fully farm down. And yeah, does take Switch there, has to give up a shield, but honestly, I don't think there's anything in the game that can fully wall Ghost and Fighting type moves. Actually does go past 100 energy there, but not a big deal. And now going to land a Focus Blast? No, unfortunately gets shielded. I really want to see a Focus Blast land on a Dialga. And here he only makes it to a Shadow Ball, but honestly, Shadow Ball's probably still going to do a lot of damage. It actually gets both shields, so Gholdengo just putting in so much work. Holy crap. Getting Switch and both shields from the opponent, and now Therian Landorus is going to sweep this Dialga. And I'm thinking that there's probably going to be another Steel type in the back, because when you see a Zacian lead, you've got to assume that they're covering for something in the back, and actually not another Steel type, but there is a Yveltal in back, and this is just game over, honestly. Even debuff, that Stone Edge does so much damage, and he could... Oh, he has no shields anyway. I was going to say he could let this go, but either way, 2 Dark Pulses is not even going to KO Lugia. So he's very comfortably just going to be able to get to a Sky Attack and win this game. And let's see how much Dark Pulse does on Lugia. Doesn't even do half. That is absolutely crazy. Lugia is just ridiculously broken, guys. And that's another GG. So we've seen Steel leads, we've seen Fairy leads, and DrLuv's Gholdengo just does not care. Another Zacian lead here. And this one is running Quick Attack once again. And we've already seen that this is a pretty nice matchup for Gholdengo. Even if they're running Wild Charge, he can very comfortably tank one and then shield the next. And they are running Wild Charge again, unfortunately. And looks like he's going to play this very similarly. Waits for them to Wild Charge and now goes for the Shadow Ball. And actually is going to over-farm here. I was expecting him to throw. Might have been nice to throw before they threw to potentially get both shields. Because now, actually, they get to another one. So now he's actually going to have to give up both shields here. And now I'm guessing the opponent probably will switch out. Yeah, they switch out. But they actually switch out into a Lugia, which is not really a good matchup for them whatsoever. And wow, Shadow Ball does so much damage on the Lugia. It actually looks like a second one will just about KO here. And they actually just fully sack their Lugia. Oh my gosh. Very interesting decision by the opponent there. And they bring back in the Zacian, but now they're switch locked. And if they're running Wild Charge in close combat here, they're going to be fully walled. And it looks like they are. So yeah, very questionable play there by the opponent to just fully sacrifice their Lugia. But and they let that go as well. And they have a Rayquaza in the back. And this poor opponent does not know that there's a Lugia waiting for him in back. And I think this actually might even have been a CMP tie, and it was a CMP tie. So the opponent is just an absolute shambles here. And they do actually undercharge that. I like that play, but that is not going to save them. And I actually like this play. No, I was going to say maybe he could have forced their energy there, but actually would have gotten farmed down. So ends up just giving them a little bit of extra farm, but it just does not matter. Because even if this Rayquaza makes it to like an outrage or something, Lugia just does not care. And is he actually going to settle for a Sky Attack here? And yeah, I was going to say he could have probably just gone for the Aeroblast, but he was probably counting. I'm not counting. Maybe they would have gotten to another Breaking Swipes. And actually looks like they're going to anyway. And can Lugia hang on? I just know it can. There's just no way this KOs. And yeah, Lugia is just insane. How many of Breaking Swipes did Lugia tank there? Like 3 or 4? Just completely insane. And now, I believe this might be the last of the Fairy leads. So we've seen Zacian, and now we're seeing Togekiss. And the opponent is fully core broken by the Gholdengo. They bring a Dialga into a Ghost Steel type. And they shield the Shadow Ball. And now he can bring the Landorus in here. And this is just looking really rough for the opponent there. They just have no answer for his Gholdengo. And I like the shield here and can probably just farm up to the back-to-back here. And yeah, just throws slightly before the back-to-back. But I'm assuming the opponent will probably just let this go. And yeah. And now he can just full send Stone Edges here. Does throw an alignment there. Gets a full charm through, which is a little unfortunate because now maybe he wouldn't have made one anyway. I was going to say, if he throws on good timing there, maybe he would have made another Stone Edge, but I don't think so. Settles for the superpower. And this is still looking a little rough for the opponent here. It might be worth the shield. Or is he going to call it? Yeah. I was going to say, if it is a Flamethrower, it probably would one-shot. And they actually are running Flamethrower, so a very nice shield there. And this is just a GG, guys. They have a Groudon back. He's actually going to Focus Blast here. And maybe we'll actually commit to a full farm down now. And yeah, I think that's what he's going to do. Farm all the way down and then Aerial Blast the Lugia there. And another GG. So I think we're now getting into some Flyer leads maybe. I don't remember exactly how I have this arranged, but has a Dragonite. And like I mentioned before, Dragonite is actually going to be fully walled by this Gholdengo because Dragon Claws are going to be resisted, Superpowers are going to be resisted, and of course the Dragon-type fast moves are also resisted. And even if they were running something like Hurricane, also going to be resisted. And actually these Dragon Tails are still chunking, but it looks like here maybe DrLuv is just going to go for the either shield and switch or 2 shields. And yeah, the opponent actually... Can he farm down? No, he actually gets farmed down. So I was going to say, may actually get both shield, but it looks like the opponent there only has to commit 1 shield there, and they take switch. So a little unfortunate, but at the very least, he has 2 shields and a Lugia, and there are just very few things that can beat Lugia with the shield advantage. And the opponent does have a Metagross here. He pivots into the Landorus, and the opponent's actually not switching out. And they actually have an Ursaluna in the back, so this should be a GG, I think, because Ursaluna is going to be fully walled. Other than the tackles, Ursaluna's charge moves are going to be fully walled here. He actually does respect the Thunder Punch here, maybe just wanting to guarantee that he can make it to 2 more superpowers. But yeah, this is just looking a little rough for the opponent because I was going to say, even if they let that go, Lugia is just so healthy, and he still has some energy on this Landorus, and now he can bring in the Lugia. And honestly, an Aeroblast plus a couple more Dragon Tails is probably going to be enough for this Metagross. We'll have to see. That does so much damage. That is just ridiculous that you can do that much damage to a Steel type with resisted moves. And a Meteor Mash is not going to KO here. And that is going to be another GG. Actually, they do make it to another move, but he still has a little bit of health there on the Landorus and should just be able to farm down. And yeah, that's a GG. So, very well played battle so far by DrLuv. I am really enjoying seeing this Gholdengo. I really just have not seen this whatsoever. And the opponent has a Mewtwo there. And Mewtwo, definitely a little tricky because it does have access to Shadow Ball, and it gets to the Shadow Balls very quickly. And the opponent brings in a Mamoswine, and he actually doesn't even build up to the Focus Blast there. And I think I actually see why. I was going to say it would have been better to build up to the Focus Blast, but here he goes down 2 shields, but I think what he recognizes here is that he really doesn't want that Mamoswine aligned to his backline, because his backline definitely will get destroyed by the Mamoswine. So by not going for the Focus Blast there, he doesn't even build up to it. He actually basically just guarantees that the opponent's probably going to call it, knowing they can live it. But that actually allows him to double shield and fully farm down. He came out of there with a lot of energy as well, and now that Mamoswine is gone, and he was probably calling that they don't have a better answer to his Landorus than that Mamoswine, and that's exactly the case, because they do have a Zacian in the back, and the opponent actually doesn't want to commit both shields, so they actually do let that Stone Edge go, and they get greedy over farming, and now Superpower is going to get the last shield from the Mewtwo, and now I think Lugia and Gholdengo together can just fully sweep this backline, because even if this is a Shadow Ball, which it is, the Lugia just shrugs that off, and I think the Zacian will have to Wild Charge here if they have it, and then the Gholdengo can probably come in and farm down. And actually, no, just going to play it safe. Just going to play it safe here, Shadow Ball right away, and the Mewtwo would have to Shadow Ball right away to get rid of this thing, which it didn't even have. And then the Lugia could have farmed down. So very unorthodox there, but I actually really like the play of just going straight for the Shadow Ball there without building up to the Focus Blast, and ends up taking a pretty comfortable win there. So the opponent has a Zarude here in this battle. Very cool pick. And Zarude, I would imagine, probably does beat Gholdengo, just because a Dark Pulse, I'm imagining, would probably nearly one-shot it. So he does bring in the Lugia here, and the opponent answers his Lugia with their own Lugia. But they did ship first. But this Lugia, actually, it looks like this might be, I don't know if it's level 40, but it's definitely underpowered, because this Lugia is only 36.95, and his Lugia is just going to destroy this Lugia, unfortunately, for the opponent. And yeah, they do have to commit a shield, and he's already done so much damage to them that he can probably now come in and fully farm down. And yeah, this is probably not even worth a shield, even if this is an Aeroblast. And yeah, Aeroblast, it's underpowered, doesn't do quite half, but the opponent has a Ho in the back, and now this Ho has to face a Therian Landorus with Stone Edge, and I'm imagining this would probably just about one-shot. So yeah, the opponent does shield, and does he? Yeah, he's going to respect the Sacred Fire, doesn't get the attack drop, which is very nice, and unfortunately they do just get to another one, but I still think he's in a fine situation. You can probably overfarm here, get this Stone Edge off, and now I think that Gholdengo is going to be able to sweep this game here. I forget what the lead was, but let's see what they come back in with here. Oh yeah, the Zarude, that's right. Yeah, I was going to say Superpower will KO. And actually, no, he actually over-taps there, maybe over-farms too much. Dark Pulse actually does KO, but he was so close to the Focus Blast. Maybe, honestly, maybe he just wanted to Focus Blast the Zarude. Maybe that was intentional, just so we could see a Focus Blast land. Yeah, again, I'm sure that DrLuv had that game under control the entire time, and yeah, GG there. Groudon lead here, really bad lead. Pivots into the Landorus, and the opponent's actually staying in and going to chip with a Fire Punch, so they clearly do not have an answer to Therian Landorus, and they come in with a Zacian, and this is not the best situation for Zacian, especially if they're running the Close Combat Wild Charge moveset, and will he just call the bait here? Yeah, I think he's just going to call that they're not running Play Rough. And they're not. Excuse me, guys. I'm having a really rough allergy day today. I did a bunch of yard work today. I was out in outside for like 3-4 hours today mowing and stuff, and just absolutely wrecked me today. So yeah, the opponent was running the Wild Charge close combat, and they just fully sacked their Zacian and actually able to get to another superpower here. And the opponent has not used a shield yet, and unfortunately for the opponent, they are about to lose the game here because they decided to save their shield for the next battle. And yeah, at that point, they just fully concede the match. So I'm not really sure what the opponent was doing there. But again, these are like the 25, 2600s. So DrLuv is just very much outclassing his opponents here. And the opponent there tried to catch a superpower on the Groudon there, or on the Lugia there. And he ends up over farming there very nicely, probably expecting the catch. And now this Lugia is going to have to tank multiple Stone Edges to the face. And despite Lugia being a tanky monster, Therian Landorus is an absolute beast as well. Yeah, I think it also has a very high CP. We'll have to see here. And yeah, with that Best Buddy boost, this thing is almost at 4,500. So really impressive, honestly, because these Stone Edges are non-stab, and they're still really doing a lot of damage on this Lugia. It looks like now, after the Mud Shots, one more Stone Edge probably will actually KO the Lugia. Very nice play there to bring back in the Groudon, but this is not Fire Punch range. So he could even... Oh, actually, it is Fire Punch range. Wow. That is actually a Best Buddy Groudon, 4697. So I'm actually really surprised that KO'd. Very nice play there by the opponent there to snipe. But I think he should still be okay here because even though they make the snipe there, they did give up switch, and there's just really not a lot that Groudon can do to Lugia. So Lugia probably can very safely here overfarm massively, and then just Aeroblast this thing, get rid of it. And we'll have to see. Have we already seen what's in the back? I was kind of talking, so I don't really know what's in the back. Oh, no, we haven't. It's actually a Dragonite. So I think he should be okay here, just because, again, the Gholdengo in the back fully walls all the energy that the Dragonite can throw. So regardless of whether they go for the Claw or the Superpower, it is not going to matter. And does the opponent actually know the typing here? And yeah, they do. I was going to say, do they actually go for a Superpower? I was kind of wondering if we'd see anything like close combating or superpowering the Gholdengo. They're not realizing it's a part Ghost type. And now I think... Is this enough for an Aeroblast here? I was not counting. I think an Aeroblast will KO here. And no, just a Sky Attack. Gholdengo can tank it. And I think they... I don't know if they were at the back-to-back there, but yeah, they surrendered there before the move even landed. So GG's, and I think this might be the last battle, guys. So Kyogre lead here. And this is actually a little bit of a Corebreaker because it does beat the Gholdengo, and it definitely does not want to see, or the Therian Landorus does definitely not want to see this either. So looks like he is just going to stay in, and wow, that Shadow Ball just does so much damage. Holy crap. But the thing is, the Kyogre will actually match the Gholdengo for pace, so if they throw right away, yeah, they will win CMP against the Gholdengo. Despite Gholdengo having a very high attack stat, the CP difference here is just massive. It's like a almost 700 CP difference here. So, unfortunately, does go down a shield, does actually go down 2 shields there, and does get switched, but now he has a lot of work cut out from here because the opponent has a Metagross, and this is actually not that bad for the Landorus. Actually does get a shield, and I like this play. Just going to go right for the next superpower. Just make sure that we get this energy off before the opponent throws, and probably, yeah, they're going to be forced to throw here, or they would get hit with another superpower here. And now DrLuv's Lugia has a lot of work for it. Do you just bring in the Gholdengo here to force the opponent to throw? And yeah, it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Brings in the Gholdengo, is going to force them to throw, and maybe can actually farm down the Lugia here, and just has to hope that whatever's in back is very, very weak to this Lugia to have any chance at winning this game. And I think we already may have seen it, but again, I wasn't really paying attention, and yeah, it's actually a Groudon, so this is actually going to be possible, I think. I think his only win con here is to Aeroblast this Groudon and have them call a bait. Please, opponent, let this through. Please let it through. And they actually do let it through. And now they're going to get fully farmed down despite having a shield. And I'm not sure if he's going to come down here with 2 Sky Attacks. Yeah, definitely not. So maybe just has to hope that he can farm down the Metagross here. And it's going to be very, very close. And he just is able to farm down, holy crap, on very low HP. Crazy game there. Going down 2 shields on the lead and still managing to win the game. So, well played, as always, to DrLuv. And thank you to him for sending us some very cool spice with mons that, honestly, I will probably not be building for a very long time. Because when it comes to Master League, again, I am a massive noob. I have, like, maybe 2 or 3 things that I have XLs for that could potentially make 50, but no legendaries. Definitely no legendaries. I think I have enough to make like a level 50 Dragonite maybe, but yeah, I have nowhere near the amount of candies or dust to make these mons. So thank you to DrLuv again. And yeah, sorry about the commentary today, guys. I did just get off 4 night shifts in a row, and I have slept very little in the last couple days. And yesterday I only slept for like an hour after my 4 night shifts, so I'm just like very, very behind on sleep. So thanks for bearing with me. And with that being said, thank you to everyone for the support. As you guys probably have seen, I am over 1K subs now, so that is super awesome to see. And if you are not subscribed, if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.